Welcome to the show today, the Monday show. Creative Universe Checkpoint Earth presents Union News, Union Consciousness State, and Manifested Flesh is one. The real twin flame work happens on the inside, and then it will guaranteed manifest outside. In this series of lives, I share about what that means for my union consciousness process to inspire you to find yours. It serves as the source for your almost daily twin flame news. Today on the show, we have union consciousness state and manifested flesh is one. I have talked so much about the union consciousness state and that twin flames need to reach that one deep in their spiritual mind, and that creates the foundation, the inner foundation for everything in the flesh, in the world, in the manifested plane, for real, however you want to call it, that you want in your twin flame journey. Be with them, date together, have a relationship for real in the flesh that goes in the direction of, I don't know, maybe what you want, what your heart desires, like a marriage, a family, your mission business together. What about that? So you want that union consciousness state to have that as the foundation for everything you want to manifest for real. And that's how you know that it will truly work sustainably in the joy that it is supposed to be about, as a true blessing that keeps on pouring out, and that truly opens the door to your inner abundance that becomes your outer abundance in everything your heart desires. That's what the twin flame journey is supposed to lead to. So I've talked a lot about in very many videos and concepts and things I do online about that we need to have that consciousness state as foundation. And you really do. And I pass that on, okay? But today I want to talk about that consciousness state must come together with the flesh, with the world, with you, with the bodies. And that happens exactly at once in truth. And that must be so. And I even want to address how I almost made my own biggest mistake in that case, in that phenomenon, and how I am resolving that now. And how I don't want you to be like me in that regard. I want you to reach the consciousness state and at the same time, as one, also have everything in the flesh immediately. That's what I want for you, because that's the truth. So let's talk about that later in today's show. Let me know in the chat where you are watching from, and add in the comment field a heart for desiring union. And what about commenting a flame or the word flame for calling in the consciousness state of harmonious union? Twin flame union consciousness wisdom of the day. Twin flame union is the deepest spiritual truth about you, and also the most superficial manifestation of the love that is you, because it is eventually coming to bloom in the physical romance with the complementary expression of your union core. Yeah, that was the sentence of today. And how true is that? And how fitting for today's theme was that? It's truly about the topic of the day, that twin flame union is the deepest spiritual truth about you that is already true. You are already a twin flame. That's your deepest heart nature. It must be so. Otherwise, this whole topic about twin flames isn't based on anything. And it's just a fantasy, a blah blah. It only means something if you truly are that at the core, fundamentally, maybe in like the invisible realm of you, of the you, but still. And that's a deep spiritual truth that is already true. It must, because you are human. And at the same time, so that's like the deepest invisible spiritual truth of you. And at the same time, it is also the most superficial flesh and blood, people to people, person to person, dating, kiss kiss. I mean, like everything, like the superficial, the flesh, the touch, the senses, like our daily lives, our clothes, our how we dress, who we are, that we love that from each other as twin flames, that we like to be in each other's company, that we are just chit-chatting about the weather and about deep things too. But I mean, like, it's also the superficial thing. It's also the manifested world. It's the daily life. It's the I'm getting up in the morning and making breakfast. It's the let's drink a coffee together in a cafe with my twin flame because we enjoy that. It's also the superficial part of life. Not to say judgmental things about being superficial, but just because that is the outer part of life. That is the form part of life. And that is also what twin flame union is. And the whole crux is of the whole journey that you need to connect that outer life, the form life, the flesh life, the daily life. And you need to connect that directly to that inner core that is also simultaneously already super true, super duper true. That you are a twin flame that is already in truth, in union. That must be so because you are a human being at your spiritual core. So it is your deepest part and your most superficial part at the same time. And then there's an alignment between both. That's when the things start to manifest that you're looking for, that you're desiring naturally in the twin flame journey. I hope that makes sense to you. So it is the deepest spiritual truth and also the most superficial manifestation of the love that is you, because it is eventually coming to bloom in the physical romance with the complementary expression of your union core. If you repair the relationship, the inner relationship between you and your union core, where you spiritually already are a true twin flame in harmonious union. If you repair that inner relationship, then that must manifest in the flesh, in the world, in your daily life, as them coming to you on your coffee date. There's no other option. If you truly repaired that on the inner plane, and I'm very serious about that, that's truly what that is. That's the work that you need to do. So you repair the relationship between yourself and that spiritual core that you already deeply are. And there must also be coming the coffee date with a true twin flame or whatever it is between you that you would like to do. That's a spiritual law. That's a law of the universe. You can't do anything about that. That's just what happens. It just is what happens. It's not an if. It's not a, yeah, maybe when someday, sounds good. Sounds like a pipe dream, but sounds good. Let's dream away. Let's wait around. No. It's something that must happen, and it does happen when you repair the relationship between yourself and the core of your spiritual union heart, the deepest place of what you spiritually are. It must, and it will. That's a guarantee. Yeah. And it's just so beautiful that, I mean, the implication of that is that you can just enjoy fully from the core of your heart. You can enjoy together, hand in hand. Well, like what I enjoy today, like the coming to bloom in spring. It's now springtime in my half of the world. The coming to bloom of nature in springtime again. I saw when I was lunching, I saw outside the window, because I was working today in the inner city, and we were lunching inside. That was how it was for a moment. And I was looking at the tree right outside the window, and it was a chestnut tree, and it had just these very like fresh green, so fresh green, fragile leaves that had just come out. This old tree, old chestnut tree with this fresh tiny leaves that were sprouting out all over the tree branch. And it was just this moment that it touched me so deeply, just I can cry about it. Just so, how about that? What you can cry about. But, it was so touching, like, yeah, beautiful, like how in springtime that just nature bursts open, and just like, can you imagine, the power of the energy flow of nature is ginormous. And even after the deepest winter sleep of all the leaves of the trees, they just spring open again. And it's just such a sign of life. And it was just beautiful. And I shared that moment with someone else that I was having lunch with. That was a beautiful moment. But what I'm talking about is like this enjoyment of the physical, actually also like normalcy of the world, just can be so completely inside that true twin flame union experience. And because you have repaired that relationship inside yourself, that is the work that needs to be done by everyone. It's normal that everyone still needs to do that work. That was for me too. It's not more than normal that people have not done that work yet. It's specific work that's not done yet. That's why you watch this video. That's fine. That's perfect. That's natural. That's okay. I was there too, But when you've done the work, you stand so completely different in such a purified, innocent way, and you just fully enjoy like the leaves of the tree when springtime comes in your lunch break, and it's just the most, well, I already said it, like the pure life force energy that touched me for a moment. And it was just, the physicality and just doing life and making mistakes and eating lunch and seeing a tree outside the window. But it's so full of enjoyment, like a divine enjoyment was in that silly moment. And that also becomes fully possible when you have repaired that relationship on the inside, and then you just stand in life, and there is a new kind of enjoyment that's truly significantly different. It stands out as different. And that can be in lunching and seeing a tree, but it can, of course, be times 1,000 also with the true twin flame. That's, with how you experience being with them. And then without the problematic side that many people experience, and why you come to listen to this video. The problematic side of, yeah, but when it's with my twin flame, and then, I do feel that enormous burst of life force energy, but then they run away, and I don't want that. And that's the whole problem, don't you think? That happens all the time. So that's why you're here. So what I mean is, like, the repaired inner heart gives this beautiful smooth and peaceful experience of daily life, of physicality. Uh, Also with the twin flame times 1 million compared to the tree almost, So I had that a couple days ago when we had just talked a little bit as well. And then I was cycling through the like there were pear trees on my road, and they were blooming pear trees. It was beautiful, and it was like as if the wind swept all these flower leaves across my path. I was cycling, and it was beautiful weather, and the sun was shining, and it was just beyond beautiful. And it was in total ecstasy because of the conversation I had with my true twin flame just that moment ago. And yeah, I mean, that kind of thing. And then you would be like, yeah, but isn't that the problem? Because then they run away again. So no, because when you have repaired that on the inside of you, that's not what happens. It just stays. And it's just beyond beautiful, and you just enjoy the physicality of life. And there's not that like, oh, but now we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, that's not there anymore. And that's because you've healed that inner plane, that inner space between you and the deepest spiritual source of that, the fact that you are a twin flame already in truth, in harmonious union. And that space between these two things is repaired. And then that physicality is just one big dream. It does feel like the dream. The dream is, I'm just living the dream. And the dream is flowing by so quickly and so smoothly, and yet at the same time so slowly. It's hard to describe, but so beautiful. I could cry again about it. Because it has just made me such a better person. That's what I want to say today. And I think I want to say more about it in a minute. So let's try to go to the ACIM lesson of the day, because why not? ACIM lesson of the day. That's going to be lesson 104. And it stands for A Course in Miracles, ACIM. And that's a book in which the Christ Masters have published like the underlying union consciousness truth of, what actually also churches try to teach, but it's maybe not recognizable for people anymore. But it's from the whole Christ Master family. So that's actually also Buddhism, and it's of all these things, Hinduism. I'm not kidding you. This is like the underlying union consciousness idea. And it's completely like explained. You would say like that's not possible, but it actually is. And that's this thick book. And one of the parts of the book are lessons. And today we have lesson 104. I seek but what belongs to me in truth. Today's idea continues with the thought that joy and peace are not but idle dreams. They are your right because of what you are. They come to you from God, who cannot fail to give what he wills for you. Yet must there be a place made ready to receive his gifts. They are not welcomed gladly by a mind that has instead received the gifts it made where his belong, and substituted for them. Today we would remove all meaningless and self-made gifts, which we have placed upon the holy altar where God's gifts belong. His are the gifts that are our own, in truth. His are the gifts that we inherited before time was, and that will still be ours when time has passed into eternity. His are the gifts that are within us now, for they are timeless, and we need not wait to have them. They belong to us today. And the entire lesson is linked in the show notes. I always make a whole writing of today's show so that you can read it and go to the links to the sources and whatnot. Very enlightening. It's almost like little lessons about union. So when it speaks to you, you can come to my Patreon, patreon.com/PEJ at Creative Universe, or the link below, and then you can become a member, support the show, which is important, and also read the show notes every time and watch the secret videos. I already published one secret video for you. In my Patreon, it is about 3 twin flame secrets in the secret video. How about that? I thought it was a funny starting point for this series of secret videos, to do 3 twin flame secrets that I only learned decades later, So take advantage of that, because you might want to know them today so that you can be quicker, be so much quicker. When I look back on my journey after I had completed it, it's just so many like silly things like, geez, I should have known that, like 10 years before and taken it seriously, because then, things would have quickened immediately and immensely. And I pass that on to you so that you don't need to be slow like I was. So that's about my Patreon, and the complete lesson will be in my Patreon too, because there's more text than this, but we keep it here for now. Lesson 104, I seek but what belongs to me in truth. And wasn't that exactly about what we had been talking about, that God gifts you this state of consciousness. God gifts you this physicality that belongs to it, the enjoyable experience of the senses that is here too. And you need but receive it. But are you? Or have you substituted that which was given with something that you invented, that your ego wanted to be, whatever it was, that it wanted to be like an ego gift. And then you're already filled in that place where God actually wanted to gift you something. And then it doesn't work. And then you can't receive your twin flame union. And God is sad that you didn't receive his gifts. And any moment when you become conscious of that, you can change that situation and just become open again to receive God's gifts. And let your own dissolve, because they're by far not as sacred and valuable as God's. Yeah. His are the gifts that are within us now, for they are timeless, and we need not wait to have them. They belong to us today. Twin flame union is the gift that already belongs to you today. You don't need to wait for it. You just need to align yourself with that truth in your heart that is already true, and allow to receive it so deep that it will manifest in the flesh, in your daily life, in your physical world. That's the only thing that you need do, which is not really a doing. It's more of a being, actually. It's more of an aligning. That's truly the trick, should you have wanted one. And then you just repeat that moment after moment. That's the trick. And it's also normal to want to have a hand that is reached out to you to be with you and maybe help and guide you a little bit along the first couple steps you're going to take along that simple being and alignment question that you're going to answer in yourself. And that's why I'm here. That's why we have a school. That's why I opened the year group course on May the 1st in 2025, and you would be welcome. And I do not only open the group course for you, but I also just opened the information about it, which might just be very interesting for you to hear about. And also, we will just be having festivities. Did you know that? Just festivities, because that's just an awesome opening of that door to the year group course. Twin Flame Abundance Now, it's what's going to be called. It's just an awesome festive time in which my own masterpiece school course opens up fully for the first time, and instead of small pieces and whatnot. So yeah, that's awesome. That's worthy of festivities. So we're going to have some online festivities for anyone that wants to join. Not only if you want to step into the course right now, immediately, for anyone. Free festivities we'll have. And one of the things is we're going to do a 5-day plus bonus day love game, an online challenge to love yourself, because isn't that the basis of Twin Flame work? So that love challenge will start in the beginning of May as well, and you are invited to come there. I think I already shared the link for it. I will put it after this recording, after this live video is over, in the recording. Then I will put it in the box below too for you, and in the pinned comment. So there will be the link to the love game already for you as well, but I will make a more official invitation for it as well later for you. That's one of the festivities that you can join. It's going to be awesome. There will be A Course in Miracles things in it. There will be self-love assignments for you every day that you can download and do. There will be a group that you can join. You can connect with other people they're also going to do the love challenge, right? You are going to also be invited to a social in Zoom together with other participants. You're also going to be invited for the webinar. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. You really don't want to miss this. I completely rebuilt an awesome love game with a workbook that you download 5 days in a row for yourself and open up on your computer. And every day you take an hour or so for yourself and you go through the exercises and you just love yourself more and more and more, because isn't that the basis of twin flame work? You just need to really, really deeply love yourself. I mean, if you want to have any, summary of like, what the heck is this all about? Why would we need a school? What is twin flame inner work? Well, let's summarize it like this. You need to love yourself. And we're going to do that. That's what it is about. That's what it is about. And that's really actually an intimate question, and it's also entirely not so. How do you say that? Selbstverständlich. Well, that's German, isn't it? That's German, Petra. Okay, it's not so. Well, common to do. It's not so common to really truly do that, in a deep way that we're talking about here, in the intimate way that we're talking about here, until your soul level, but also in the superficial level, what we talked about earlier as well. Your daily life, your body life, that also needs to be loved. Everything needs to be loved. And all these things will come to the surface in the love game, the 5 days plus bonus day, 6 days. The love game will be even including topics like, well, the body and your daily life, but also money. What about that? Do you love yourself and your money? That's also a part of reality. So there it is as well. But also, do you love yourself in your energy, in your core, in your heart? All these areas we're going to have a look inside if you love yourself there, or could you deepen that a little more? So yeah, if there's any summary of what the heck this is about, then it is about love yourself, and not in a narcissistic way, in a sick way, in a crazy way, because that is all about, well, let's say the psychological layer of you that is also like sick in a way. And that's not what it is about. That's also not truly loving yourself. It's not loving yourself at all. It's like making yourself sick and then making yourself more sick. So that's absolutely not what it is about. I have seen some people that think that it sounds wrong and it sounds narcissistic and it sounds like, but that's not what we need to do, right? We need to care for other people, like be kind to your other people, be kind to your friends. Shouldn't that be the message, Petra? But I'm just not sure how you're going to reach that when you haven't loved yourself first, until the heart is filled with genuine love, and not only social love for the form of it. So how are you going to share love with your friends or circle or your neighbor or whatever if you're not even loving yourself? So that's just impossible. So yeah, that's where you need to fill it up, because then you will automatically share something with other people around you, don't you? When you truly feel filled up, when you genuinely have your heart filled with, well, let's do divine love. That's what twin flames are made out of. So let's fill our hearts up with freaking divine love, man, instead of ego love, narcissistic love, which is a contradictio in terminis, which is, in other words, that's not even a thing. It doesn't exist. The ego love is a contradiction. That's not the same. That's the opposites, right? It's like, okay, well, that doesn't even exist. But that also comes because the idea of what love even is actually very, well, let's say, underdeveloped in society, in social life. It's an underdeveloped idea of what love even is. Love seems like, oh, but isn't love, when I love myself, I'm just going to pamper myself and I'm going to the sauna one day and then I take face masks and I watch nice YouTube videos about makeup, and I like that. That's self-love to me. All right, well, but that's a part of things. That's a part of life. We don't need to deny the physicality of life. It's a part of life. And it can be really relaxing. And well, go ahead. If that feels good to you, then do it, Or maybe it's like, yeah, but maybe, self-love is like, I just need to be kind to the people around me. Well, all right. But don't you want to first fill yourself up before you even have something to give, to share? Otherwise it's fake. And that's not love. But what about this? The deep core inside of you that just bubbles from life force energy, that just, you don't need to do anything. It's already there, and you can like be still for a moment and feel that just bubble up at the depth of your being, from the bottom of your breath. And, that's more like that comes closer to the divine love that is already here. And we just need to like put some things aside to notice it, what is more close by than anything, closer by than your breath, because it's at the bottom of your breath. It just is. What about that love? It has nothing got to do with your psychology, with your sick psychology. Maybe your like wounded. Well, let's call it wounded, because when your psychology is sick, it just means that you're wounded. With your wounded psychology, it has nothing got to do with it. It's just already here. Put your wounded psychology aside for a second and feel the love already welling up at the bottom of your breath. That's already present. That's love. And it has nothing to do with your wounded psychology. But at the same time, when you truly let actual divine love in more and more, then that wounded psychology will be influenced by it and become healed. So that's also how we heal. But it's not well known. Like society and social life are not taking a moment and feeling divine love at the bottom of their breath. So it's just very relevant to have to have this as a topic for the love game. Like, what even is love and self-love? And let's research that a little bit. Just in itself as a principle, but also in a couple of topics, daily life topics. How could you apply it here and there? So that's what we're gonna do as one of the festivities of the starting of the Twin Flame Abundance Now year group course, the beginning of May. So stay tuned. Already leave your name and email address in the links that I will put below and everything, because then you're in. And click through on all my links. I have lots of content for you for free already. Also in like sort of the waiting room for the Twin Flame Abundance Now course to start. I have a Twin Flame quiz. I have a Facebook group for you. So many beautiful blogs inside of there. It's just awesome. So you can already enjoy all of that. Let's go from ACIM, that we were also still talking about the book, and step over to another part of the show, segment from one of my books. And I opened the paper book Twin Flames, Manifesting Your Abundant Life of Love, and you can buy it on Amazon, that I wrote. It's a segment, and I see now that I actually have taken 2 segments. Well, let's just read it. Creation comes in an order. This is actually, there are 2 quotes from Master JD. And if you want to know who that is, my last Twin Flames Inside the Womb live show from last week, the last one before this one, I believe. Yeah, must be. In that one, I explain who this is a quote from, who this is that is actually talking here. 2 quotes. Creation comes in an order. This order has a defined quality to it, in which each component has its sovereign place and therefore perspective. From where I stand, says Master JD in her own quote, I oversee the happenings in my way, and it is good. It is orchestrated in a way to make Christ consciousness be able to shine, because it has a rift, a wound. The light shines through the wound. And this is the very place where I enter. Every generation again interprets the universal laws at first literally, to then mature and appreciate the sacred wound for its ability to elicit the love that builds universes. The grand lesson to not claim what the soul builds with the ego has to be incorporated by each player at their own time and ripeness. Deep appreciation for the steady, soft flow of soul growth is arriving for those that have a relationship with compassion and all 9 levels of existence, of which 7 are within the reach of human influence. The one that has compassion for the Christ opens the new layer of Source's creation for the human development. The one that is the Christ will receive and bring in action some of it in the heart space. We live at a time where from this divine play comes forth an expression of compassion itself. You will find me when you pass both stages of creation order and befriend yourself with your soul. This is the power of Source, to be accepted and received in by those that bow to this process, and I recognize the holy procedure in it that is necessary. All ancient teachings will eventually lead you here. That of the axis of the personal development, including your ultimate partner and your divine career, and that of the spiritual development of the soul's penetration of the human layers of existence. Both are co-creating a divine fabric that is woven only to make you find the ageless compassion that is hidden inside the secret heart chamber until it is opened by honoring the wound. This is where our friendship starts. Master JD on September 20, 2019. And another quote. The light you see is an aspect of the true light that is the universe. Light is. There's nothing new about light. It is simply what arises when you submerge yourself in a vast, fertile darkness of receptiveness and go to the core of experiencing this. Students that claim to have something new simply lack experience. True spiritual wisdom rises up from the ground. It is the treasuring and staying within that dark, fertile ground that is your true teacher. This ground is simple and always present. It does by nature not have the exhilaration of marketing. The guidance to that ground done by initiated people can be marketed, which means communicated. The feeling space that you are will, however, communicate by itself already, so nothing needs to be done. It is universal law. The value of the master communicates itself automatically and unconditionally. Knowing where you stand in relationships is a communication. This goes automatically by living life and will crystallize itself out further and further. You learn to see yourself by many life movements. This becomes your self-respect. It is done so that you can consciously give space to what cannot be developed but is given, the light of the soul. Within the subtle vibrations of the soul is where I live and befriend you. I am awaiting your arrival in my sacred space patiently. Greetings from where light lives. Master JD on September 20, 2019. But it was the same date. All right. That was from the Emerald Itinerary, page 270. That is at least a page where it is in my paper book, Twin Flames Manifesting Your Abundant Life of Love. Available on Amazon. Author me. We're going to step towards Oracle Guidance of the day from my own card deck. The Manifest, Union, and Mission cards. All right. We just take the one that immediately stuck out. Let's not waste time. Card B 2.1 from the Builder series, Language, How, and we see a pyramid with words and the sun at the apex, above the apex, I need to say. This is like a feather, that's the symbol of the series. From letters and words to meaning. All right, let's go to the booklet. Words of the sun. Union meaning, and I will put the mission meaning, which is another text that I will not read in this live. I will put that in my Patreon show notes. Building is a huge question in union because we can run up and down all we want every moment of the day, taking action, reaching out, announcing dates, prepare dinner, clean the house, call them up. But is there a fullness of the soul within while doing so? That will eventually determine the quality of your answer. The question of how you build is thus of great importance when you value a fulfilling result and at the same time a peaceful process traveling towards that. Words build on their own already, just like that. When I keep silence, then there is emptiness. When I speak the words, come tonight at 8 to this restaurant, I created an entire world of relationship, dating, action that penetrates the life of your twin flame. Words chosen wisely can heal, inspire, and transform. Think about the power of love letters. Love letters! Old-fashioned. Words are a far-reaching stadium of creation and have huge impact. Choose them wisely. The power of words cannot be understated. They are vibration that works together with the soul and the sun when you let that happen. Let yourself be used, so-called, by these powers and speak your magic formula. You know how to put words into action for building relationship, for creating an atmosphere in union that feels like home. You can pass on how impactful this art of the word really is when you keep on implementing it consciously. And isn't that true? Because the topic of the day, that is really a lot about the alignment between the manifested world where you want to have your romance play out in real life with your true twin flame, and your true union core deep in the spiritual depth of your heart, where that is already the truth of the matter. And this show is really about using words, because that's what we're doing right now. You and me, we're communicating because I'm speaking words. So I'm using words to bring us, you and me, closer to that reality that we're talking about today, like the alignment of the inner truth that you are already in harmonious union, and the outer truth of your daily life actions with your true twin flame. And we are using words right now to bring that together, to talk that out together. That's the magic of these shows. That's what that is. Language is a sacred tool that is one of the tools that one can use for inner work, for twin flame magic, if you will, right? That's what we're doing a little bit in the show. And in something like, a true coaching relationship, and the true twin flame course that I'm starting in May 2025 and stuff. Of course, that plays also a major role. Yeah. Words in the pyramid, which is a monumental form of an initiation chamber, an initiation monument. And words can do that too. That's what this image means. So this is my Easter 2025 special, in which I repent about having been wrong about that union consciousness, and the result of it all in the flesh of your twin flame union is one and not separate. Even though I lived it a tad separately myself for some time. You are not encouraged to make my mistakes, but rather to make the full physical step as well at the same time as the consciousness step that is harmonious union. So muster up more courage than I did. That's my Easter message. And I hope that makes sense already just like that. Because it is really true. And that's my step of humility that I want to make today as my Easter action, as a gift to my union, and as a surrender of my union to God. That I was wrong. Union consciousness is a true space. It's a true moment that happens when you do the actual twin flame work with the key tool, in the embrace of the community, with the true teacher on the hand that can give you the guidance that you need as well, and can actually pass it on because they already have it, and then it springs to you and you're included as well. That's how that goes. It's a very precise thing that will happen, guaranteed, when you do the twin flame inner work in the right way with the teacher for long enough for what is needed for uniquely you to have it, and then you just fall into it. And that will be a very precise moment that we can measure out on the exact Well, second, and that's not an undue statement. It's the only absolute and precise thing that will happen on your twin flame journey that can truly be measured, because I will know when, and you will know when too. You will just know, because something different will happen. Something qualitatively different will happen in your inner space, and you will know it. And it can be acknowledged and deepened out with the teacher. And that is a crucial time for you to stay close to the teacher as deeply as you can, as close as you can, for quite some time as well. Because then you'll guarantee yourself that you can really start to work that out, like deepen that out when you reach that, and start the beautiful healing wave that comes to you afterwards in the right way as well, etc. It's a crucial, vulnerable time for you. And that's the consciousness work. It will happen for you. It did happen for my students. I have brought 4 students out of a whole bunch, and 4 of them were sticking with me deep enough and long enough so that they could reach it, and they did reach it. 4 times that happened in my career until today. And you could be the next, you could be the 5th, right? And the quickest I have seen from my students is in 4 months and 4 days. So as far as I'm concerned, you could be quicker. Let's do it in 3 months for you. That would be fine for me. It is necessary. It is absolutely necessary that you reach this state, because then we know that you will be with your true twin flame. It will be lasting. It will be in the joy it is supposed to be about. It will open the door to your true soul's abundance in everything that is fit for you, such as wealth, health, energy, resources, relationships, and everything else. Soul money, of course, too. Soul family. Oh gosh. Yeah, all of it. So these are some things that belong to that idea, but actually fact of your harmonious union consciousness state. You need that, and then it'll all fall into place. And you're just sure that you do the actual twin flame thing, and you're not in a fantasy, you're not in a cult, you're not fantasizing, you're not delusional, you're not bullshitting everyone by opening your own YouTube channel and bullshitting around about twin flames while not having it. No, you actually have it. That's what that means. And it just means that you will be actually happy. And I'm just so happy for you that you are really, truly happy. Truly happy. That's what that means. And that's what I pass on. That is my work by the grace of Divine Mother only, because I surrendered my life to her. And she takes over. I can't do it alone. I don't do it alone. She does it, but she does it through me. And in that communication, that chain of communication, I am very important to you. Okay, so that's how it works. And that's what my work is. And that's what my students do. And that's what is done already. And that's, actually all of this is a miracle. It's absolutely wondrous and beyond beautiful. There's just really life force energy bomb. Wonderful. There are no words to express the wondrous nature of what this is. It's just divinely beautiful. But in another sense, this is just a part of what will happen so that you can integrate all of this in life. And even integrate all of this in like the bigger spiritual path that I stand for, and that you can sink deeper into and whatnot, right? And you can let this sink into and integrate into your actual life and your mission life and your work life and your family life and your dream life and your home life and in your health life and in your food life and in your sex life and in your clothes life and in your social life. And that's what my work is all about, to let you integrate that in all of these places and even guide you with like a broader spiritual path that has this potential as the epitome of, well, what this time is about in human history, to integrate that part, the harmonious union, with your true twin flame. That's just the latest thing that came to me to pass that on. So that's what we do here. This became my work. And I will tell you, almost against my will, as it were. Because I didn't want that. I didn't want to become a crazy person that talks about this silly topic that everyone makes out to be a cult and a pipe dream. And you know what the problem is? For a large part, that's true. Because there is a lot out on this topic. Is it really that topic? You could really question that. That is just batshit crazy bullshit. Well, okay, it's just not the truth. It's just not the real thing. It's just not the real thing. But it has that word, twin flame. So to sort of associate myself to this phenomenon of, let's say, that silly word that is, well, frankly, misused widely in so many media, on social media, etc. Well, that's one aspect of why that was actually unattractive to do that. Divine Mother personally had to persuade me for many, many, many years and push me beyond my incredible shyness to do this. And eventually I did it. Because I don't do it anymore. I just surrendered. I don't know what we're doing, but I do. Because through me, Divine Mother knows. And I am an important aspect of that chain of command, for sure. But not because of my personal will. Because I exchanged that for Divine Mother's will. That's what I mean. So, but here's the thing. In my personal twin flame journey, when I had not arrived yet, that has taken me some decades, which is like silly in itself. Because now I can guide it for you so much quicker. I mean, part of the fact that I do this and the fact of its effectiveness and the fact that it is very valuable is that I present something that can make it for you so much quicker, like you can't believe. You don't need to spend 4 decades. You spent, well, what did we say? 4 months and 4 days. For one student, that was the case. So don't do what I did. I'm just a silly example that eventually surrendered to Divine Mother. But don't be like I was. I did everything wrong. I believed all the stupid, silly stuff about twin flames as well in the past. because I didn't know any better until I did. So here's the thing. I spent 4 decades along the lines of that. And then I got into the harmonious union consciousness state. Now, that fell for me after like 3.5 months, I guess, after we had come to union. But this union, well, almost spectacle, this union firework that it really was in the flash as well, was really well, spectacular that it was also so scary. And in a sense, relatively speaking, so inconvenient, because he was still entrenched in something else and I was still entrenched in deep trauma. That even though we did reach that consciousness state 3.5 months afterwards, just as a matter of letting the natural results of that union come to its full fruition for a change, instead of all these earlier times that I had already met him, and the full union hadn't happened yet, and the full consequence of that union on the consciousness space had thus also not happened. But now the full union had happened also romantically, and we got all the aspects together, also the sexual aspect, everything was there. And then 3.5 months later, that had sunken in the heart, and we could go as a result also to the full consciousness shift that I now say that it is all about. But then in our specific individual case, we didn't at that moment, 3.5 months later, stick together or go together again physically in a physical relationship. What you guys think about that it must be all the time. And it is. Don't get me wrong. It is. Don't be mistaken about that. It is about that, but it comes from the deeper place first. You need that consciousness space to make it about the joy, to make it sustainable, to make it about the true thing that you 1000% sure know is the true thing, that it is about opening the door to your abundance. And your teacher knows that too. And it's just all completely packaged in something that cannot be made undone anymore. That's what that consciousness state is for. You need that. But for us individually, in our unique case, we didn't at that same time step into the physicality of it again, or continue that physicality immediately at that moment of the consciousness state shift. And there is a lot of compassion for that. And there is a lot of reasons for that that are so understandable. And there's a lot of trauma healing in that could thus happen first. And there's a lot of physical and even financial and familial healing that was possible through that. And there was a lot of mind healing and emotional healing and psychological healing that was possible because of that. And there was a lot of compassion for some other intimate people that are surrounding our union that are very important as well. That was possible through that, perhaps. And there was a lot of like soul felt understanding for that. There was this longing in both of our individual hearts that we wanted to sort of close off a certain experience that we were having that was not physically 100% yet what we all think that it should be, like we first needed to close that off, or like live that fully out, or like complete it or something, and then that completion of that one would also be the start of the physicality of together, and there's a lot of compassion for that, and like the amount of healing that was in that enormous after harmonious union, the consciousness state healing wave that came over us, that's just immense, immense, immense. And it will happen to you too. These things are what it's all about, and it is profound, and it was changing everything as a result, because the consciousness had shifted already and was already accepted at the core. And a lot can be said about that. And maybe that happens for you a little bit about that as well. And maybe it is explainable by saying that, the flesh is a little bit slow sometimes. The world is a little bit slower it comes sort of after the core. The spiritual core has already decided. It's already there, but the world, the flesh is just a little bit slow, and it just, what do they say? Maybe that's a Dutch expression, which is my mother tongue, my mother culture. I think they say that, at least in my country, de ziel reist te paard. The soul travels by horse. The soul travels on horseback. Is that an English expression? Or is that like bullshit in English? But in my culture, it is something. Anyway, so that means the same. It means that, there's a certain lag in like the making come true of these things for real. And that's acceptable when you keep in the consciousness state. Keep in it, for God's sake. Don't leave that. Don't turn your back on it. Keep in the consciousness state. Keep it and keep on working in it and on it, and let it work on you. And don't leave that process. Oh, for God's sake, don't. Because people do. I have seen that in people around me, also people that I have guided personally. They turn their back on that process. Well, that's not necessary. Don't do that. I didn't, so. I mean, I believe that is the core. But for me, the time has come to end that in-between state and confess, as my Easter confession, with huge sincerity, that it is wrong and unnecessary, in the sense of unnecessary. Union consciousness is the physicality of being together. At the same time, because time doesn't exist. It's one. It happens simultaneously. Guaranteed. End of story. And I repent. So I just want to express my contrition about, well, going against God, myself. because I was afraid. Yeah, and now I see that I see through the fear, and the fear has dissolved. And it's nothing. It didn't even exist. And we're still at the same moment. And you don't need to celebrate your lag. It could be there, and that's okay, but don't choose it. Don't be silly like me. Just make it physical. At the same time, because time doesn't exist anyway. And fear is not real. And again, I have figured that out with all my might and all my work and my effort and my resources for you, so that you don't need to be as silly as I was. So please, may that be the lesson of today. I choose now to explore the most complete depths of my being. I surrender my mind completely to God, that He may bring it into perfect harmony with His. I invite God now into my very core, that He may make it right, returning it perfectly to its state of eternal wholeness. I trust in the power of divine love. I choose to see the truth that it is universally accepted by all. At the core of every child of God, including me, we're all one with our twin flames and God. It is safe for me to open completely to love now. My love. Love is not elusive unless you command it so. But don't worry, you could not choose against love itself, because you are love itself, manifest as you eternally. If you command it to leave, love does not leave, because it cannot possibly leave. But you leave love by the power of your command. And by that same power, you can command yourself to return to love. And it is so revealing to you that love never left. It is safe to let go. It is safe to relax into love's eternal presence. Love is calling you home, and I'll be there waiting. I have always been here with you, and I always will be. Your next step. Don't forget to actually start the process and jump on the team. Actively come to our community, start doing the correct inner work, and ask the support you deserve through our services, so that we can start a relationship that will lead you to harmonious union and beyond. When you're not in a relationship, you're not on the team, and you can't expect the results I'm speaking of and, in fact, guaranteeing. Currently, you are cordially invited to step into the group year course experience. This is the Twin Flame Mystery School you have been waiting for. I am looking for 9 people to step into this abundant opportunity. Twin Flame Abundance Now opens its doors on May the 1st. Start giving so that you can receive. The door closes as soon as I have my 9 people that will be successful in their journey. But first we dance towards the opening of the door together and the festivities that will launch then as well. Join the launch of the Twin Flame Year Group Course of your dreams. creativeuniverse.earth/abundance now launch, or go to the description underneath this video and click the link. The show notes. You can, however, support this ongoing live Twin Flame news as such, make it possible as co-creator. Without your participation and financial gifts, I cannot do anything, because we need to have an energetic and verbal visual exchange for things to make sense and to know what I need to talk about for you. And also, we are on Earth, and that necessarily always works with money as a means to make sacred content actually physically flow. Therefore, I post the show notes in Patreon. Come over and enjoy. Have influence on the broadcasts. Don't miss out on the behind the scenes experience and my secret videos. Patreon.com/PEJ at Creative Universe or the link below. This month, the Patreon subscriber action is 12 weekly key sessions for Twin Flame development for €499 instead of the normal, already favorable deal of €700. Normal price, €792. Share this video with a friend. If you enjoyed it, they might too. Like it, and of course, become a member of my channel. I am Petra, in the consciousness state of harmonious union since March 2020. 2020. Worked with the new Christ Masters on Earth right now to roll this consciousness state out so everyone can enjoy the abundant life with their true twin flame soon enough after going in with me right here. Don't search any further. You reached what you were looking for. Om. Amen.